Welcome. This is an instructional video being made by Cleanacorp for ProTech on how to convert bulk cotton and Nomex beltings into actual ribbons used in the laundry industry. Start with an overview. It's a three-part process to make these belts. Step one would be the cutting of the belt and measuring of it, which, if you can do the camera, we have a board over here. We lay the belt out to cut it. And this is a cutter that we've pulled out of your shipment. This is coming to you, but I pulled it out so you could see it. This actually cuts the belt. After the belts are all cut, then the ends for cotton belts have to be sealed. And this is our dolphin cement in a container for dipping, which we will show you. After the dipping dries, then we go to the lacing of the machine. This is also your LW95 lacer, which is coming to you. And this is actually going to put the hooks of the conveyor belt into the cotton belting itself. So those are the three basic steps. We will now go into each step individually and give you much more detail on the how-tos. Okay, so the first step of the operation would be to measure and cut the belts. And again, this is your 6-inch belt cutter. Thought I would give you a brief overview of the cutter. Your belt's going to go underneath, and you're just going to come down, and then this slides out and cuts the belt. To pull this out, to change the blades, you're getting a Allen wrench set, which we just loosen the Allen wrench screws. Your rod pulls out, your slider, and your rotary blade is right here. Be careful, it's very, very sharp. To replace that blade, basically have a couple screws and another Allen wrench screws here. Undo them. This pulls apart and you can replace the blade, put it back together. Some lubrication, a little bit of lubricant is good to help this slide back and forth in the sheath. So after you get the blade back in, everything tightened down, just stick that back in there. Tighten up your screws. And you're ready to go. So what we've done here with our 4-inch belt cutter, which has been discontinued by the lacing manufacturer, it's now the 6-inch that you have. We took a 2-inch board and mounted the belt cutter in there so that you have a pretty smooth surface to be able to slide your belt in and out. So when you cut it, it's a nice cut, and then you pull it out. Okay, so for measuring out and cutting the belts, we jury-rigged up. There's many ways to do it, but we just took a frame, made a frame, and made a stand for the belts so that the belting can roll off the stand into and through the belt cutter. I will simulate here. These are just some different types of belts. We have a standard cotton belt, elastic belt, a 2-ply heavy 4-inch belt, even a rubber belt. So for purposes of demonstration, most of the belts that you'll probably be doing will be cotton. So what we do is, let's just say we're going to do a 60-inch belt. So we're going to take the belt, make a nice straight cut with it, so we have a nice straight edge with the belt perpendicular to the belt cutter, nice and straight. Pull the belt to our 60-inch mark, and then with any type of a clamp, you want to clamp it at 60 inches and make sure we have a nice straight edge along the boards. You don't want to have any curves or any folds. Pull it just snug. You don't have to stretch the belt, just snug. And we're just going to pull our cutter across, and now we have a 60-inch belt. The 60-inch belt, remember, the lacing goes on it, but it's end to end, belt to belt. We don't figure in, when you're measuring a belt, the length of the lacings, which we will show you how to do in another part. So it's end of belt to end of belt is how the belts are measured. So up until this point, we have demonstrated the measuring and the cutting of the cotton belts. And after you've cut the whole set, or however belts you're doing, whether it's 30 or 40 or 45 in a set, we usually do full sets at a time or a bunch of belts at a time, and go from one process to step 2 process to step 3 is usually the progression. So step 2 would be the sealing of the ends of the belt, cotton belts. After they're cut, the cotton will fray and the hooks will pull out if the end of the cotton belt is not sealed. And to do that, and ProTech has purchased our Dolphin Sealer. Basically, we have a container, any type of container will work, just so you can get the belt into it. Even a small pot or bowl works. It's a water-based sealer, so it's no hazard to it or anything like that. So basically what we'll do is we'll pour the Dolphin Sealer into whatever container you have, and then just give a dip. And generally you dip it to where we're covering maybe a 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch on the end is all we need. And you're going to dip both ends. And you can squeegee it off so you don't waste any. And then we just use a stand with some type of a metal rod to help hold it. And we hang the set here. We'll do a whole set, a whole bunch of belts at one time. And it'll take approximately an hour, for 45 minutes to an hour for the sealer to dry. You want it to be clear. You want it to be dry so that you don't get any of the sealer adhesive caught into the lacing machine retainers. Then they get gummed up and you have to clean them more often. And that's basically the sealing of the ends of the cotton. We are now have reached step 3. After the belts have been dipped and dried, we're going to want to put the lacing or the hooks onto the end of the belts. This is the LW95 lacer that you've purchased, and I'll go over the brief operation of it. It's going to come with the handle separate in the box. It's designed to go right-handed or left-handed, whichever side you want to go on. It has another handle here for the adjustment of the depth of the belt that you're going to lace. The heavier belts, we're going to adjust the jaws out. The narrower, the thinner the belt, we're going to adjust the jaws in more. And then this will be kind of turned around when you get it. You'll have to take it out and remount the adjustment arm. What the adjustment arm does, it's going to open your jaws wider or make the jaw narrower depending on the thickness of whatever you're lacing. If you have the jaws too tight, close together, and it's a thicker, heavier belt, you can actually break the yarns and cause the ribbon to fail. If it's not tight enough on the belt that you're lacing, then the hooks are not in the belt as securely and the hooks will pull out and you'll have a failure. So I will show you how to adjust this in a second or two. The lacer has come with a hook retainer. This is what it looks like. There's two that you're getting. One is for the number 1 hooks, which is a bigger hook. It has bigger slots. The other one is a smaller retainer for a number 25 hook, which has more slots, smaller slots. The number 1, the larger hook, we use on our 2-ply heavier belts and on our 6-inch Nomex belts that take the bigger hook. All your cotton belts, we use the number 25 lacer, and there's basically just a screw on. You have to open up the jaws. There's a screw, I think, on each end. The old retainer comes out. You pop the new retainer in, and you're ready to switch back and forth between hook sizes. Each one of the retainers comes with a pin that's attached, and I shall be showing you how that holds the hooks in place when we go to do the lacing. For purposes of mounting and utilizing the machine, it comes with its own stand, but that stand can be mounted to a table, at the end of a long board, whatever. It depends on your spacing, what requirements you have for space, and whether you want it to be portable or fixed. We've made a stand. I have 2 older lacers. I had a stand welded and assembled for me, so I can use either one. Now for the cotton belt, whatever width it is, 2-inch, 2.5, 3-inch, the process is the same. Earlier we cut a 60-inch belt, which we dipped. The dip is now dried. I don't know if you can see the discoloration, but the whiteness has gone away. The adhesive is dried and it's ready for lacing, and it's about a 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch of a dip. You can do it deeper, but it's kind of a waste of adhesive. Basically, you want the adhesive to cover the depth of the hook. At this point in time, it's not mandatory, but it's nice for a nice clean lacing. If the blade on the cutter wasn't super duper sharp, you might get a little bit of pieces hanging off. So this would be the time to just take a little trim just to kind of clean up any fuzziness. So we have a 60-inch, 3-inch belt. We're going to put hooks in. We have our box of 3-inch hooks. One side has one more hook than the other side. We're going to take off one side of the box. We're going to put it in our retainer. We're going to take this is a number 25 retainer now for number 25 hook. We're doing cotton. We're going to take our pin, stick it in. We're going to take our putty knife, or if you have long fingernails, it works too, but putty knife is easier. Just separate the paper top from one side of the hooks. The number 25 are a little bit easier than the number 1 hooks to peel the paper off. So then with the other side, we can just kind of peel it, and now we have the card off, and our hooks are now open, waiting to receive the cotton belting. The jaws were adjusted the same as before. A nice snug on cotton, you really want to see just a slight indentation in the cotton, just putting it in the jaw and tightening it up. So now we're going to put our cotton belting in. We're going to center the hook into the belt, and then we're just going to move our arm nice and snug. The hook is in, it's adhered. pull our pin out, pull the hook out, and we have a nice firm adherence of the hook to the cotton. Again, this is a little harder, but between each of the hooks you can see the hook from the back side just barely breaking through. The hooks are in there nice and firm because they're not moving, they're not too loose, and we're ready to go. So now for the other side of the belt, we've taken a hook off the other side of the box, which has one more or one less hook in it than the previous side. We're going to do the exact same thing. Put the hook in the retainer, put our pin in to help hold the hooks into the retainer, take our putty knife, separate the paper from the hook on one side, and then on the other side loosen the paper and get the paper off the hook. Now our hooks are open, the points pointing towards the middle to receive our other side of our cotton belt. We also center it as best we can, eyeball. Here we go stripe to stripe pretty much. Make sure that the belt is square to the bottom of the retainer, or top of the retainer. Come around, nice snug fit. Pull the pin out, pull the hooks out, and again we have a nice firm hook in the belt. And now the belt is ready to ship to the customer, and the way it goes together would be they overlap, and we would have our pin material, our Nylo steel pin. When it gets to the customer, they would put the pin in, and that's what holds the belt together. Again, we measure the belt from end of belt to end of belt. We do not measure belts from the end of the lacing to the end of the lacing because they're pretty much going to butt together. And that's how we lace cotton belt, no matter what width, anywhere from 1 inch to 3.5, 4 inches. Some 2-ply beltings are as much as 5 inches. You just have to find get the right size hook to go in it. The lacers will do it all. And that's how we lace cotton.